Lots of news today, boys. Lots of news. Some good, some bad, but none more important than just a dominating hockey performance by perhaps one of the most, well-known hockey players in the world, and that's Vladimir Putin. He scored 8 goals in a gala match down in Russia today. So, what do we think of hockey superstar Vladimir Putin scoring 8 goals in a 13-9 blowout?
Yeah, he buzzes. I wouldn't say 13-9's blowout, but yeah, he was definitely the most dominant player of the ice. It looked like the team was afraid to go near him, and I just think when you have that type of presence on the ice, you can score a lot of goals.
Yeah, I know. I don't think it's anything to do with the way he runs the country. I just think he's a dominant hockey player. So,
No,
you
he is.
know,
I saw his shot was pretty good, and like he kind of does this thing where you know how McDavid skates really fast. He kind of
yeah,
slows the game down to his own pace. Like maybe bobble the puck a little bit. He's really good at looking off defenders. He looks it down at his skates a lot. So I think he buzzes. I'd love to play him. Like I think he's a really good player. He doesn't really pass that much, but it's one of those players you get him in the puck and no one would touch him.
yeah. He's got like this force field around him where nobody goes near him. Goalies stay out of his way. It's really impressive, actually.
It's amazing. I've never seen someone score and the fans go that crazy. Like I don't know if it was this game, but I remember a few games ago, like he would score and everyone would just go nuts. Like I just think definitely a fan favorite.
Yeah, so that's Vladimir Putin 8 goal performance. I don't know if you knew that or not, Brandon.
I have no comments.
Yeah. So getting into some actual hockey news and not hockey news that kind of makes you roll your eyes. Jack Eichel had his season-ending press conference, and he had quite a lot to say. I got some of the quotes here, and some of them make you raise your eyebrows. So, one of the things he said was the injury situation has been tough and interesting. Not playing has been the toughest part. Said the injury does still require surgery, and he's looking to fix the situation, get healthy, and be ready for next season. Speaking about Ralph Kruger, he said Ralph was a phenomenal human being, someone I hope to have a relationship for the rest of my life. And then he gets into the handling of the injury with Buffalo, and we'll get deeper into this. And this is what he had to say about the communication between him and the Sabres. For sure, I'd say I've been a little upset with the way things have been handled since I've been hurt. I'd be lying if I said things have moved smoothly since I've been injured. I'd say there's been a disconnect between the organization and myself at times. He adds his focus is on getting healthy and being ready for next year, and he'll see what happens. That's courtesy of the Charging Buffalo on Twitter at the Charging Buff. So after reading that, I guess we should open with this. Will Jack Eichel be a Buffalo Sabre at the start of next season?
Well, if I was Jack Eichel, I wouldn't want to be a member. And if I was Buffalo, like the team, I wouldn't want him either, to be honest with you. I just kind of think like both teams and players burned so many bridges, and I just kind of think when it comes to an injury, like no offense to Jack Eichel, but you're the only one that's hurt. You know what I'm trying to say? So like say it's a neck or like he said he has a lot of lingering injuries, like a rib and a wrist. And like I just kind of think like your body the best. If you need to shut it down, shut it down. He did end up shutting it down. So him saying they're not on the same page, I'm a little confused because I think it was more just he wanted surgery and they didn't want him to get, or they advised against him getting surgery. But I just kind of look at it.
Just to clarify, the injury is a herniated disc in his neck, so that's a pretty big injury. Just to add some more context, then Brandon, I'd like to get your thoughts on it. It sounds like he wants to get surgery, and the Sabres won't let him get surgery. So the steps he would have to take is he would have to go and get his own second opinion, and then the Sabres, with that second opinion, would have to kind of come to a conclusion on what they can do. If Eichel doesn't like that decision, then he's allowed to go to kind of like a medical arbitration where a third party can say, no, this is what needs to happen.
I think they advised against it. Don't say they don't let him. I don't think that's proper.
That's not letting him.
No, you advising against it's more like I think it would be in your best interest not to get surgery and just rehab it. Like for an example, remember McDavid? I think
rehab a herniated disc.
I have no idea, but if you're not getting surgery, that's the only other alternative. So I assume that's what they wanted. But it's kind of like McDavid. Like everyone told him to get surgery. I think Edmonton told him to get surgery and a few other people, but he ended up going to a third party and they said you could rehab it, but it's going to take a lot of work, and he decided to rehab it. So I think this is a lot more common than it probably comes out. Like I remember the same thing happened with Kawhi. So I just kind of think like I don't know. I don't want to say it's blown out of proportion, but I think, like I said, it is Jack Eichel's body. So I think he does make the final decision.
Brandon, what do you think about this? He is? I think we lost Brandon.
Yeah, we lost Brandon. Anyways,
All
Josh,
right,
what do you
well,
think about this?
Oh, there he is.
So personally, this situation is alarming to me, right? Because it's your superstar, and you don't have a great team as is, and you don't have a great name for yourself around the league. And attracting more players and talent from overseas, young talent, you want to have a good name for yourself, and you want to be known as the organization that works with its players, especially for what they need and for their health purposes. Personally, if I was Jack Eichel and you've been told by medical professionals that you need surgery, I take it very seriously that you should get the surgery and help your body the way he needs it to be helped. Obviously, I'm not sure what the severity is yet. The situation is very confusing still to both of us. We had a lot of conversations about it last night when it broke. Matt brings up a good point that Josh brought up last night with the similarities in between the San Antonio and Kawhi Leonard situation, which, is a little bit interesting just because of different sports and the magnitude of, how Kawhi came back from that injury and the leverage he had over the San Antonio Spurs and with his free agency and after that whole situation. So, I think my initial thoughts were, if this is a trade issue or a money issue, or, it's almost, scary to think that an organization can control your fate for your health, if that's what we're trying to think of.
Yeah. So when asked about his future, he said, when a poor season like this happens, it forces everyone to consider what you can do better, what the future holds. I think I have a lot of thinking to do this offseason and a lot to consider. For now, I'm here and I'm the captain of this hockey team. My goal is to be available and to try and help the guys in the room, organization, win hockey games. I'm going to continue to do that as long as I'm here. A couple other ones. Eichel says his camp has been on one side and the team has been on the other in regards to his injury treatment. There's been some tough conversations, but I'm going to do what's best for me. I'm only going to play hockey for so long. I'm 24 years old and only have so many years left playing this amazing game. The Buffalo Sabres have to do what's best for the organization, and as a player, you have to protect your own interest and do what's best for you.
But yeah.
And last one, sorry. Eichel hints that his contract is what's keeping him from getting surgery at the moment. I'm under contract with this team, and they hold a lot of cards on what I can and cannot do.
Yeah, I understand. But my point just is he hasn't played for, I think, exactly 2 months to the day. Like, I think his last game I saw was like March 7th, and it's May 10th or it's May 11th. So in my opinion, it's like, what has he been doing for the last 2 months? Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I don't like the way it's coming out in his words. It's like they've been in a battle for 2 months, but like health wise, I don't like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I just think the time frames are a little wonky here because when he played his last game, he practically shut him down for the season. So if you use those 2 months and then the next 4 months till the season starts, that's a 6-month recovery time frame. So I don't really understand what's the holdup, whether it's surgery or nothing. Like, I kind of think it's been 2 months since he's last played, so you should have more answers, just team and camp. You know what I'm trying to say?
Well, what has more value? A Jack Eichel who hasn't had surgery yet, or a Jack Eichel who just had surgery and probably won't start the season? The Buffalo Sabres don't want, like, that's the way I see it, right? They think he doesn't need surgery because he's more valuable to them if he can start the season either for them or for another team. And like, I guess we can kind of shift the conversation into the trade aspect of it because it looks like he's not going to be there. And I put out a tweet last night. I said, there's 3 teams I think he'll end up with. I said the Rangers, I said the Flames, and I said the Habs. And I don't think it'll be the Habs after kind of thinking about it, but I think Rangers and Flames are a real possibility to land Jack Eichel.
No, you said Chicago was one of those teams.
Did I? Yeah. Okay. I meant Chicago.
I thought you said LA. I have no idea what you said. But just to kind of go on because Josh kind of asked a question, but
it's hard about this situation. Sorry, Matt. There's a lot of unknowns. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Just this situation though, like I kind of look at it as like, even if you say, okay, he's on the trading block and we're trying really hard to trade him, I don't really think it's realistic to you get a good trade offer from now to the beginning of the season. Like, I think when you just kind of look back at hockey history, like I think the Erik Karlsson trade took like a year and a half. The Duchesne trade took forever. So I think when you make a blockbuster like this, it's going to take so long that why not just shut him down and make him train and rehab? You know what I'm trying to say? And like you said, if I'm any team acquiring Jack Eichel, I'm not acquiring just for next year. This is a decade long move and decision. So in my opinion, I don't really see a rush from a trading standpoint, from him coming back to the ice standpoint. I don't see a rush at all. You know what I mean? Like, I think this is a lot bigger than just the first 20 games next year.
Yeah, You keep saying rehab. I don't know if you can rehab a herniated disc. I'm not a
I
doctor.
think we
don't
really
think you
gotta
can.
not we as in general, but I think all of us we can't speculate this injury. This injury is clearly a mystery to all of us as well. Herniated disc, we don't even know what to deal with it. I don't want to say that we know the proper timeline and we're throwing out 6 to 8 months he should be fine or 2 months he should be fine. We really don't know. I don't know about a herniated disc at all and what the rehab is even involved and if it's surgery is the most common thing or not. So I don't think we can sit here and say that Jack Eichel is wrong. We're not sitting in his shoes. I'm not going to say that you guys can't voice your opinion. I love hearing what you guys have to say, and especially being hard on Eichel. I love hearing that, although it sounds like everyone's taking his pity, Matt's trying to give him a little bit of firmness, which is interesting because
no, I'm just saying. Oh, sorry. Just to prove my point. I'm just saying that if you're one of the best players in the league, the timetable is the timetable you choose. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? So in my opinion, if I'm Jack Eichel, there's not really a lot Buffalo can say to me right now that holds any value because I don't want to be employed by your franchise and I'm hurt. So there's nothing we could do here. I'm taking as long as we need, and you're trading me to a handful of teams that I give you. Like, that's why I kind of brought up Kawhi. It's like the rumor was Kawhi was cleared to play for San Antonio for months, and he just said, no, I'm just going to get right. I'm going to take my time. And he ended up going to the Raptors, and he came back better than ever. And if I'm Jack Eichel, and the only reason I said 2 months is because I meant more 2 months in his last game. So that's what I meant. I didn't mean 2 months in the future. And when I said 6 to 8 months, I mean like take as much time as you need. Like if he needs to be out for the next year and he gets surgery or whatever. And like as Josh said, I'm not a doctor, but I saw a list of a lot of other injuries that Jack Eichel had. Like I think he had like a lingering wrist and other like ribs. Like, yeah.
He broke his rib at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I was trying to find the whole list because that would give it more context. My opinion is like if you have more than 2 injuries and you're in Jack Eichel's situation, there is no rush to come back to no matter what organization I'm playing for. And that's more my point than it is
I agree. I guess to your point from what I'm trying to say is that you sounded almost confused as if though they spent no time between his last game and the statement, like coming up with a real problem.
No, I am confused with that too because if it's been 2 months, I thought it would have leaked that they disagree about the injury a long time ago. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think it would be more beneficial.
I guess what I'm trying to say is
talk a long time ago.
For Jack's benefit, and maybe even his family and his camp, Jack's camp, aside from the Sabres camp, is that they were taking their time, maybe going to maybe not multiple sources, but like maybe they were trying to rehab it and they didn't know that it was the right decision to get a surgery. Like, you know what I mean? That 2 months isn't actually that's a short amount of time to be able to think about what you want, to think about the decision. And then maybe you're like, oh, I'll go for 2 weeks of rehab just to realize it hurts too bad. And then you're taking 2 steps back after making 1 forward. Now you got to make another decision. It's been a month. And now you have a month. And now all of a sudden your team's mad at you because you changed your decision.
But Brandon, that process that you just talked about, I'm saying I think it would benefit Jack Eichel a lot more to make all that public, just so everyone knows the deal and everyone knows what's happening. So I know how you try to kind of plan your career and your injury and all that step by step. But I think when you do a trade demand, if you make everything public, I think the player always looks better in that situation. You know what I'm trying to say?
So yeah,
this is a very interesting situation for sure.
Yeah, let's move on from the playing doctor to playing GM. What's the value of Jack Eichel? Because you're taking him from a Buffalo team, and the return, you're going to have to return roster players because of his $10 million cap hit, but you're also going to have to return players of value that Buffalo wants to give up. Like, it's going to be a tough trade, right? Like, that's a big trade to make.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's why I'm thinking, I think Calgary's probably the front runner to be able to be the.
Why do you say that, Josh? I don't see that. Can you dive into that?
Yeah, I'm just thinking because you got Monahan. You got 2 trade chips at Monahan and Gaudreau. You got a couple other guys. They have some good prospects. They got some decent picks. And they do have cap space if you look into it, and they move some stuff around. And is it?
You're looking for a culture change.
Who's their GM?
Brad Traveling.
Yeah, Brad Treliving. He's going to need to make a big move pretty soon because he's done nothing with this team for the last 7 years or however long he's been there. So
Trevelyan?
Jim Trevelyan, his dad's on Dragon's Den. So it's going to be. The more I thought about it, the more Calgary was the team that I think would try.
But if you're Buffalo, you have a 24-year-old superstar who doesn't like it, and all your other players are younger and Dolly and Cousins. Why would I trade for a Johnny Gaudreau who's 27 on an expiring contract?
To get that, maybe the piece isn't Gaudreau.
No, but then I'm saying, what is the other piece? So, like, my whole point is I don't really, but like he has 2 years left at 6.3, and he's only a year younger than Johnny Gaudreau. So in my opinion, if I'm Buffalo trying to trade him, I look at more the LA and the Rangers who have plenty of assets, but their ages are 18 and 22, and they're a bunch of picks. Like, I'm not trading Eichel for anybody above the age of like 24, 25.
Well, I guess all three of us can agree that you're ruling out Matt Tkachuk. He's not going anywhere. You know,
I'm honestly, I'm not trying to look too much into the Calgary Flames at all.
Yeah. I mean, Andrew Magnifi is a good piece. Michael Backlund, maybe. He's kind of old, though.
These are terrible pieces.
You know,
like,
Noah,
I would rather
Noah Hannafin, Rasmus Anderson. You know, probably don't want Chris Tanev. They don't really have a goalie to trade, so, you know.
I don't even know if it's a Canadian team, man. It could be one of those LA teams, the Rangers you mentioned. I was even thinking about those Southern Florida teams. Maybe it's Florida or Carolina. Who knows?
Yeah. We'll finish it off with this, Matt. You're a Rangers fan, and I've seen a lot of people doing trade proposals to the Rangers, and it starts with Lafreniere and Kakko. As a Rangers fan, what do you say to that?
I think that's a little absurd, just from the standpoint of if you trade Lafreniere and Kakko, Jack Eichel's 24, but all the guys that you kept are like in their late 30s. So I think that
also wouldn't do it, because that doesn't even free up $3 million cap space.
No, but the Rangers have a lot of cap, because I think their buyout goes from 12 to 4. I think Brennan, the cap is not really an issue with the Rangers, but I just look at it more. Would I rather have Eichel play with a 18, 19-year-old Lafreniere and Kakko for the next 20 years? Or would I rather him be really good with Panarin, but only for the next 4 years? So if I'm the Rangers, Lafreniere and Kakko is probably only one, and it's probably going to be Kakko. So it'd probably be Kakko. Maybe there's a Benajab contract because he has one more year at 5.3. So maybe Buffalo, you take that. Maybe you re-sign him or you flip him for more picks. Then maybe like a first. Niels Lundqvist is a good prospect. So I think it'll be very similar to the Erik Karlsson trade, where it's a bunch of prospects you've never heard of and a bunch of picks for the next 4 years. So I don't really think it's going to be the huge, sexy, they're getting this superstar in return for Jack Eichel. I think it's going to be like an A+ prospect, 3 B+ prospects, 3 first-round picks, and like 2 roster players. Like, I think it's going to be that type of trade.
Right. Okay. I think we beat this dead horse to the end of it. So let's move on. That's